Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a very, very, very special guest. If you follow the coverage on Dodgers Daily at all, you know that I've been trying to tell anybody who can listen how good Elijah Hainline is. Elijah, welcome in, man. Really enjoyed watching you play this year.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you were with Rancho, and Rancho was up north, I think, so around maybe the Sacramento area, and Oklahoma City was in Reno, I think it was. I could have that wrong, but you got called up.
We were in San Jose, and they were in Sacramento, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it was like 45 minutes apart from each other. Alex Freeland was hurt, and you got to go straight from Low A Rancho to Triple A Oklahoma City and really just kind of kicked ass. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience. Right after the game ended, Shu brought me into the locker room and said, "Hey, you're heading over to Oklahoma City to like fill in for a few games or whatever." He goes, "Don't know what to expect. You may play, may not, or whatever." Got there playing that night, and it was kind of a wild experience, but something that I definitely enjoyed. Like being behind Glasnow when he threw was kind of cool and stuff like that, and seeing those guys around, seeing Ward and all them kind of hit bombs and just kind of pick their brain as I was there, trying to get as much information as I could to help me throughout the rest of the season, knowing that I was probably going to go back. So just enjoying the moment and making the most out of it, and kind of just playing free because, well, no one really expects anything in that moment. So it kind of freed me up to just play and kind of have fun.
I can tell you for a fact, I talked to the play-by-play voice. I'm sure you met him. Not Alex Freeland, but Alex Friedman. That's kind of crazy. You have both those. And Alex was like, dang, this Hainline dude is freaking good. I mean, he held his own. So you impressed Chris Gutierrez, the bench coach, third base coach, too. He was also very impressed with the way that you handled yourself. And I was like, yeah, absolutely no surprise. The guy's strong. He loves the clutch. He wants the ball hit to him. He wants to be in the big moments. And there's a certain amount of experience that he tends to play with. So kind of what am I seeing there? Put all that together for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of working through the game and kind of knowing myself as a player.
Yeah.
I think being in college and being in those situations and really kind of understand the game. I may not be the most physically gifted human being that you see, but trying to use my strengths to my own advantage and make the most out of it, and try to become the best player that I can be, instead of worrying about what everyone else is around me. So just enjoying my own time and just enjoying it and trying to play to the best of my ability every single day.
Do you get like your exit velos and launch angles and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. This year, especially at Driveline 2 in the off season, do a lot of that stuff, and throughout the season we'll do, yeah.
Do you know what your highest exit velo was?
This year was 112.
Oh, good. Do you know what the average was?
I honestly couldn't remember, but
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you won't know this, but I have a sneaky suspicion. One of the things that's so impressive about you is that you let the ball travel a little bit further than some guys do. You trust hitting the ball in the back of the zone, which takes a lot of strength, for one, and it takes a lot of trust just in your process of letting that happen. But I say that to say you don't just hit the ball the other field to try to dunk it right over the second baseman's head. I'm not sure you don't hit the ball just as hard to the opposite field as you do to the pull side. Would I be any worse close there?
I wish that I did, but I mean, it's close for sure. I think it's definitely one of my stronger aspects of hitting is really trying to drive the ball to the opposite field. If you look at any good hitter in baseball history, a lot of them tend to drive the ball the other way and with conviction instead of just kind of hitting it softly. So I think there's definitely an aspect of that, and something that I've always worked on growing up especially.
Yeah, I didn't put this in the question log, but I think you can handle it because it just came to my mind. But, you do such a good job going the other way when guys come in on you with two strikes, with a two-strike approach or whatever that may be for you. Do you have kind of an inside-out approach to that with two strikes?
I think it's just backing up the heater and kind of giving myself the most room for error. I think any good hitter would tell you, especially the higher level ones, you have to be able to adjust with two strikes. You have to make the fastball backed up a little bit and try and maybe shoot it a little bit more to right field as I like the approach. That way you give yourself more time to adjust to like the off-speed pitches.
So are you a hitter that sees the ball and tries to think fastball, adjust to breaking ball, or are you a hitter that tries to hunt pitches and ambush the pitches that you're hunting?
A little bit of both, just kind of depending on the pitcher. I think majority of the time, like the standard approach would be hunt fastball and adjust to off speed. But there are certain times and certain pitchers where you might hunt a certain pitcher or have specific counts where you might go out and hunt a specific pitch.
So I think I just caught on. You said Glassnow was with you in Sacramento with Oklahoma City, right? That was cool. I'll bet. Did you get to meet him?
That was really cool. I mean, that is a very, very large dude that I never expected. I've never seen him in person or anything like that, and seeing him for the first time, I was like, wow, that is a very large man.
Yeah, and by the way, your Bees you know this better than I do, but your Bees made the College World Series. That's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a great job over there, continuing year in and year out, especially with all the stuff that happened with independence and all that kind of stuff, and continuing to do it this year. Canham does a great job with trying to create the schedule and everything like that. I know that's a lot of work with being independent and not really having a specific place to be in. So just working what they can and found a way to make it to the College World Series. I mean, they had a great team.
Mid-July, you get moved up from, of course, you went from we talked about jumping to Oklahoma City. That was temporary because Alex Freeland was hurt. You went back down to low A baseball. And then in mid-July, you got called up to Great Lakes, the high A level of minor league baseball. So you had to be like, hey, I went from low A straight to triple A and held my own. No big deal for this high A jump, right? Can you take us through that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. Finally got out of low A baseball, kind of just went into a team that at the time wasn't playing super amazing, I don't believe. I mean, they were wanting to, at least the first half, I don't think they played super great. So kind of coming in and trying to find a way to win games and create a team that could win and get us to the playoffs. And I think just coming in and just trying to make the most out of it. I mean, I would say high A is a lot like college baseball, especially just like the way players and pitchers are trying to throw, and kind of that understanding of the game is a little bit higher than low A baseball. I think it's a lot more of like the college guys that kind of come in and play. So it's a lot more like college. So just kind of more of a comfortability in that, I guess.
Yeah, you're a very studious type player. What I like about you is you can take information and actually take it to the field. There's a lot of guys that take information and it doesn't do them any good because they don't know how to actually apply it to game situations. So I say that to ask this question. I have a sneaky suspicion the higher the levels to go. Now, I know it does get harder to hit because the pitchers get better, but do you get kind of more comfortable the higher level you go because the scouting reports are a little bit better and you actually have a better game plan at the plate?
I would say, yeah, and to a degree. I think the coaches in all levels are really, really good, but obviously they have a lot more data over the course of the years because as guys move up, there's a lot more data. They've probably been in pro ball for a few years and kind of have more tendencies than guys that you might not be able to see. Like in low A, there's a lot of like the Latin kids that really isn't any data on them, but as the higher you go, you can kind of get a little more data on them and kind of there's just comfortability of seeing guys over and over again. Like I'm sure this next year, wherever I'm at, I'll probably see very similar guys from the year before and stuff like that. So kind of just being able to see them and kind of know exactly what they're going to do. Maybe they made some changes, but relatively every pitcher kind of goes back to their tendencies eventually.
Yeah, I think one of the things I gravitated towards, being so impressed with you is that you trust yourself. And being in the coaching rank for 30 years, I don't ever trust anybody unless they first trust themselves and their own ability. So it's not cockiness, it's just a supreme confidence. Where did that come from?
It's just the mental game of baseball. I mean, you kind of have to trust yourself because no one else will for you. So the best way to get the best out of yourself is to trust yourself. You can't go in. The best thing you can do is have conviction in what you're doing. Even if you're wrong, at least you have conviction in it. You might have a better chance than not being convicted at all, even if you're doing the right thing. So I think the biggest thing is just conviction and knowing what you're doing and kind of consistently going out there and trying to give your best every single day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so the velo part of it, let me see if I have this right too. The opposite field thing, the way that you impact the baseball for a player your size. I'm not saying you're going to impact it like Mark McGwire did back in the day, but for a middle infield type, the guy that's your size, you have a lot of impact on the ball. Then another thing it seems like to me is that you have a very strong swing, so you handle higher velo well. Would that be correct?
I think there's a degree of that. I think it's a big focus, especially in the game now where it's a lot of guys with high velos. You kind of have to be able to adapt to that and kind of learn how to hit that. I mean, I've always prided myself on being able to handle velo because if you can handle velo, you can hit anything. If you can hit the fastball, you're going to succeed in the game, at least until the game changes on you or whatever. But especially in the game now with a lot of guys throwing a lot of higher velos, average velocities on every team is up by a lot. So just being able to handle velocity is the best way you can to succeed, at least now.
Yeah. And just looking at your swing from a mechanical perspective, there's a million, you can go to a different hitting coach, this and that, and hey, there's a million different ways to skin a cat, and from one way for one guy might not be the best way for the next guy, right? But one thing that is constant is if your eyes are moving, it's going to make it tough to hit a ball. So one thing I think I'm so impressed with your swing too is that literally there's no wasted movement. Now, I'm not saying you swing down straight to the ball, but what I am saying is every movement you make seems to take the most direct path you possibly can to create efficiency. So where did you learn all that?
I think I've always tried to focus on it, but I think the real big change came from when I went to Driveline after my junior year, like after I got drafted, kind of after that little stint that I had in pro ball, and just knowing that I needed to make changes and something that I've wanted to do for a while. I think just building a swing that can handle pro ball a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I mean, you kind of, like I said, you have to adapt to the game. And at the time when I first went into pro ball, I just didn't have the swing that I felt was going to help me succeed the most. So I felt like I had to adjust and make changes and stuff. And I think one of the things that we really worked on was just the consistency of the swing, like trying to make everything as consistent as possible. I mean, the best hitters aren't these like big, huge, flashy moves or anything like that. A lot of them have very simple swings, very simple just mechanics in the game, and mechanics can take you so far, but again, as you said, if you don't trust it, it doesn't really matter. So just trying to be consistent with it.
Yeah. First thing you learn in the pros is if you can't repeat it, then you're not going to have success. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So we talked about you getting comfortable with your swing and all the mechanics there. So another part of that is that, whenever you look at the game that you've put together defensively, you are a type of guy that really wants the ball. You're very good within your box. So talk about how much pride you take defensively.
Growing up, that's always been the best aspect of my game, and I think that it's one of the areas that I really can impact the game is defensively. I know just growing up doing a lot of infield stuff with people back home, and that's always been my area of the game where I feel like I succeed the most and comes the most natural to me, especially throughout my life, just being able to play different positions. I know that I feel my best position is shortstop, but I think I could stick there, but being able to play second base and even third base if really needed is definitely something that comes with the versatility and being able to impact the game and just make your way into a lineup. So I think my defense has always been one of the things that's kept me on the field. And then as my hitting's developed, it's kind of allowed me to thrive and flourish.
I had a brain cramp right before I asked that question. I actually had a question that I wanted to ask, and I had a brain cramp there. So let me back up here. You mentioned the Driveline. Driveline was one of the first organizations that started really kind of putting all the data onto, okay, well, you can see your launch angle, you can see your exit velos, the backspin you're putting on it, all this kind of stuff. So you're a line drive. I think you're a line drive hitter, So is Driveline, are you trying to get more, more of a higher launch angle, or are they just telling you, hey, hit the ball as hard as you can? What's your approach there?
I think there's a lot of people that get the misunderstanding of what Driveline is, because I know a lot online they kind of just talk about just trying to increase your exit velocities and swing as hard as you can, but there's a lot more to Driveline. It's kind of what you put in. Obviously, bat speed helps deliver exit velocities, like that's just common physics, but just understanding how you can use it. Like if I take my B swing harder than some people take their A swing, it's going to allow me to hit the ball better. Not necessarily hitting the ball higher. Obviously there is a degree to that where I'm trying to get the ball in the air more pull side, because that's where a lot of production comes, especially in baseball nowadays. And that's how a lot of people make their money. But there's a degree of that, but you also have to be able to understand yourself and know that I'm not going to just go out there and just hit pull side homers the whole time. I have to be able to find ways on, especially if I'm going to be top of the order, middle of the lineup kind of bat. You have to be able to know your game again, as we were talking about. So one of the really big things this offseason was just trying to not hit the ball on the ground as much.
Yeah.
High ground ball percentages last year. Obviously didn't slug as well as I thought I could have, just because of how many ground balls, but like when I did hit it well, it went. So it's like trying to be more consistent with trying to get the ball in the air, line drives, instead of as many ground balls, basically.
Yeah. So I always tell people, they ask me about Elijah Hainline, I say, well, he might have the most complete game of any of the the young prospects out there. So can you tell you what you think I mean by that when I say, hey, Elijah Hainline has a complete game? His game is complete. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, just kind of being able to impact the game on all cylinders. I think being able to lay down a bunt when needed when the third baseman's back, or being able to do a job, find a way to steal a base, play defense, all that kind of stuff. Just being able to impact the game on all different areas and find a way to win, not necessarily the most flashiest way, but something that you want a guy in there in your lineup every single day.
Yeah, you look like a guy that enjoys like playing the game of baseball. When I mean that, I don't mean like just being on the field, which you enjoy that too. I mean like, hey, what all can we do with the game of baseball to have success? You seem to enjoy and embrace being able to do all of those things. That seems to be fun to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you kind of learn growing up, but especially in college. I mean, that's kind of what college baseball is about, is laying a bunt down for your team, being a sacrifice, it's finding ways to win games, even if you're in pro ball and maybe the game's wins and stuff like that don't necessarily matter until you get to like the major league level. No one really cares what you did in minor leagues, like as a team. It's more about like a player's perspective, like how good a player is doing. But there's always part of the game where you want to win. When you're going out there, you don't want to just lose the game. So finding ways to win the game. And I know that someone is going to take like a look at you and be like, okay, this guy knows how to win the game. So that's always something that I've taken pride in.
I could see you as like a third grader on the recess field playing kickball and losing and being pissed for the entire rest of the day.
Oh, if you ask anyone, I will not let anyone win at anything. I try not to as best I can. I'm competitive. Me and my fiance just got a Wii, so I've been in here grinding on the Wii, trying to beat her on every game on there and everything like that. Yeah,
so you play somebody and lose, and it's always best 2 out of 3, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, till you can finally get on the right side of things. Is that what's made you so clutch over the years? Is just the competitive gene, you just refuse to lose?
I think it's just one of those things where you got to be able to, like, the best players are made in the biggest moments. You hear that growing up, especially nobody really cares what you do in the regular season if you can't perform in the postseason. I mean, postseason is where players are really made. So I think just being able to enjoy the moments, even when it's a big moment, is kind of what helps you succeed in those moments.
Okay, so last question of business here, then we'll get into some lighter questions. What things do you think you're doing the best? Actually, let's get into that and then talk about your off-season routine. But things you think you're doing the best, doing well enough right now to be a consistent major leaguer, things you think you need to work on the most?
I think defense has always been one of my bigger aspects of the game. I think that my defense is at a very good level and stuff like that. I think physically I'm getting to a point as I kind of mature and stuff like that where I feel like I compete every day at the major league level. I think it comes down to just the consistency of the game. I think just being able to understand certain situations. I think the skill level eventually will be there. I think the skill level is close in terms of like all around game. And I think there's definitely a way I could be able to compete at the major league level. I think it's just being consistent and trying to find ways to get the edge to become a successful major leaguer, not just someone that comes up and kind of goes back down and kind of that kind of player, not someone that just plays a few years and then that's kind of it. I want to be someone that ends up in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. So trying to find ways and look at Hall of Famers and what they really do well and what I do well and kind of matching that up and comparing it, but also just understanding my game and trying to find ways that I can be successful too.
Okay, let's get into some lighter questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is Chick-fil-A overrated and is it overpriced?
Yeah. I don't know. Overpriced may be true, but I think Chick-fil-A is absolutely unbelievable. I think that is the best. That is the best fast food restaurant out there.
When was the last time you had a hamburger?
Probably not that long ago, honestly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Fast food hamburger, but a good hamburger like that. That's like homemade.
Yeah.
Probably pretty recently.
All right. What's the go-to at Chick-fil-A?
Spicy chicken sandwich.
Spicy chicken sandwich. Really?
Yeah.
A dude from Washington wants a spicy chicken sandwich?
That's all I want is 2 spicy chicken sandwich deluxes.
Do you ever do the nuggets?
Those are pretty good. I've never really. I usually honestly get the same order almost every single time.
I can get like 18 of those nuggets and not even feel like I ate anything. That's my problem with those. They're just not fulfilling enough for me.
Yeah, they're kind of little small little nuggets, but I haven't really had many of them. So
Yeah. What a dumb conversation I'm leading us on here, right? Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I joke. Yeah. Oregon State. How did they become such a great power in college baseball?
I think they just, again, having the right people in the right places. I think that it started with Pat Casey and kind of guys from that era and all the amazing players that have come through. I honestly don't know how it kind of happened, but it did. And I think just the consistency and the grit that came from being in the Northwest and having to grind through eventually just kind of put them on the map, especially in the years where Mitch Cannon was there and they won the national championships a couple times. I think that really put them on the map, and then consistently just bringing in the right people, right coaching staff, right players that are bringing in. I think it's just a great program.
Yeah, you play with a very humble confidence. If anybody ever asked me how to define that, I don't think I could, but I know it when I see it. When a guy plays with a humbleness towards the game, but also a confidence that you have to play with to be able to have success in this game. So you also have a pretty cool style with all of that. So after you hit a home run, I got to know your entire ritual from the time you round third, what kind of hand whatever you do with your third base coach and all the way into the dugout. Take us through that ritual.
I mean, going around third, it was different because, like, in college, there was one I had with our third base coach where it was like you go up and go down, like bring it up,
then down. Okay, yeah, all right.
That was like my sophomore year. Junior year was kind of just a traditional handshake. I think at Oregon State it was kind of just more traditional. And
we've done that before.
Yeah, just kind of a handshake, kind of that kind of stuff. And then I think that kind of just went in pro ball. I think I haven't really had the coaches for long enough to like really want to create a specific handshake going around the bases. But once you hit the plate, I like to do the helmet taps.
Oh, yeah.
I think taking off the helmet and giving the helmet taps. A lot of people like hugs. I just think that's kind of weird. I like the simple helmet tap.
Yeah.
But again, in college, it was like my sophomore year, it was like jump up and slam the arms and stuff like that. But now it's like you kind of just get into the dugout. We usually have some kind of like chain or something to put around, and then you kind of just run through the dugout. This year in Rancho, we were getting smacked on the head, so we had to kind of stop that one because I think I almost got concussed one day. So we had to tone that one down. But there's not really like anything specific, but it's kind of just fun, kind of whatever the team decides.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Okay, so which one's better, hitting a big home run or making a great play at shortstop?
I mean, you could go either way. I think hitting a big home run's more fun. I think I enjoy hitting more now, especially. I think defense is always going to be part of my game, but I think hitting is more fun to me. So I would say the home run probably. Yeah.
Were you always a little kid and they were like, I mean, as soon as he grows up and grows into his body, he's going to be really good? Or were you that guy?
I mean, that's what my dad always said. He's like, you were always very skilled. You just needed the body to grow into, and then the skills start coming. So as I've grown and especially matured over the last few years, like the game has really started to come around. I think the skill's always been there. It's just about filling into my body and understanding how to make my body like use it the best.
Yeah. What is your favorite play that you've ever been a part of?
I mean, not necessarily a play, but like just, I guess hitting a home run in the regional was really, really cool. I think that was one of the best experiences, having my first chance at like real postseason baseball, like where it actually mattered and you understand how big it is, especially at Oregon State when postseason is all they really care about.
Yeah.
So it's like that was definitely a really cool moment, but I think just winning the regionals and kind of stuff like that was always really cool to me.
So who did you look up to, and who are the baseball players that you tried to pattern your game after as a kid?
My favorite player growing up was Adrian Beltre.
Oh, really?
He was my favorite player growing up. I like have so many signed things. Honestly, as a kid, I think I had a shrine of him. But I used to love every shortstop, Troy Tulowitzki, like Francisco Lindor growing up, like emulating any shortstop that I could, just seeing how they play and how I can try and become that. I think that's always good, and trying to just pick things. But I think hitting wise, it's always just been kind of whoever I thought had a really cool swing, and just trying to either emulate that or find pieces from each person that I like that I can add into my own game, whether it's like a weird leg kick or turning a little bit more or something like that, just finding ways that I can maybe get an edge piecing people together.
Okay, the answer cannot be going to Gonzaga basketball games. Okay, what is your favorite thing about growing up in Spokane, or is it Spokane? Which one is
Spokane?
it? Spokane. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just have a lot of friends there, so it's always good to go back there and see all my friends and family and stuff like that. I think that's always been enjoyable. I think the snow, like growing up, I did a lot of snowboarding. That was always fun. So I enjoy snowboarding. Can't really do it as much, if at all, anymore. But like, it's definitely something fun. I think the snow for a little bit, like when you're not living there anymore, and then you go back and see the snow, it's like, oh, this is really, really fun. But when you're there all the time, it kind of gets sick. So it's, as I've been away from Spokane more, going back and seeing the snow and like being able to have like the fun snow memories are always fun. So I'd say that's probably one of the better things.
So you're back home in Spokane right now?
Not right now. I live out in Arizona now.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so take us through your off-season routine, then we'll get out of here.
Right now it's just back at Driveline, kind of just working out here, trying to find ways to get better from the year before, kind of just making little tweaks, not necessarily a whole swing change like the years prior. I think the swing is at a pretty consistent spot, just trying to find little tweaks that can make it a little bit better. Like finding ways, one of the things right now is a lot of shoulder level stuff, stop being too steep, hitting a lot of ground balls. So trying to just hit more line drives, and like my miss is more of a low line drive instead of like a ground ball. And like when I really get it, it's really driven instead of like just low liner.
So are you adding north and south to your swing, or is that part of it, or what are you adding?
Not necessarily. It's just kind of just being more consistent instead of being so downhill and then straight uphill, and the miss is either a foul ball or like going steep at it and hitting a ground ball. It's kind of just being a little bit flatter and
more runway. Yeah,
just having a little bit more room for error and kind of being able to hit the ball, not necessarily in the air, but like drive the ball.
Yeah. Absolutely. Elijah Hainline, you were so studious for this game. You love playing. One thing I'm drawn to watching you play too is you can just tell how much you love playing the game, which is absolutely awesome. And it's very obvious whenever you see you play. So thank you so much for joining Dodgers Daily. It's been an honor.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.